Good afternoon, folks. It is a glorious fall day here at my place. Temperature is in the low 70s. It's sunny. You can see the leaves are still changing. Some places the leaves are off the trees already, but other places they're still green yet. And I am up on top of my hill, my favorite place on my farm, and so I wanted to talk to you today. I'm actually sitting inside my car because it is a bit breezy outside. I'm afraid if I stood out in the air that probably the wind would hit the microphone too much and then you wouldn't be able to hear what I was saying. So if it sounds a little bit like I'm in a box, that's because I have the camera sitting on the window, looking out the window, but I'm actually inside the car. So just to get that out of the way, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk to you today about what's coming up with our election. I know this isn't a site where we spend a lot of time talking about politics, but I want to speak to people who are country lovers, people who live out in the country, who are rural folk. Those of you who are subscribed to my channel, those of you who aren't but still watch our videos about country living on a shoestring. This election is going to determine for us as to whether we can still have this kind of lifestyle that we absolutely love. Now that might sound melodramatic, I realize. But the truth of the matter is, we have two choices, and it's not just about the two people running. It's about the forces behind them, it's the political philosophies behind them, it's the money behind them, and you have on one side people who want to maintain America as it was founded, to maintain our freedoms, to allow us to live on our land and be independent of constant government meddling or government control, to have the freedom to grow our own food, to have a lifestyle that is what we want to have because we've worked hard and we've been able to buy this land and own this land, or it was passed down to us, and we want to maintain this for our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Those people will support that. And all right, I'm going to drop names. That's where President Trump is. That's where the Republican Party is. On the other side, we have radical socialists, communists, Marxists who want to take this away from us. Now, you might think that's being hysterical, but anybody who has ever studied history can tell you that any time those with a Marxist philosophy come to power, one of the first things that goes, and maybe not the first thing, but one of the first things that goes is private property ownership. Everything becomes the property of the state. The state regulates what happens. The state tells you what you can and can't do, and you become essentially a slave of the state. There is no reason to believe that people who espouse this same philosophy, who now thoroughly infest the Democrat Party, won't do the same thing in America if they could get their hands onto the reins of power. We've seen this over the last several months with all the riots and the looting and all the destruction of monuments. And I'm not just talking about those controversial Southern General Civil War monuments in the South. I'm talking about things like knocking Lincoln's statue over in Portland just this past week. These people hate America. They hate our constitutional republic. They hate the fact that we have the right to choose our leaders. They hate the fact that we have freedom, the freedom to start your own business or have your own life or work where you want or have what education you want or live where you want to live. Don't doubt me on this. I've seen it too many times. I've seen it coming for a long time. We've been battling this creeping Marxism in this country for a long, long time. And I guarantee you that if you want to have the nice place where you live out in the country right now, if you want that to continue, you've got to keep these people out of power because they will steal it from you. One of the things that used to happen in the old Soviet Union, the Soviet Party officials, if you were in the in crowd with them, you would just basically go to a town, and whatever the nicest home in the town was, if that's what you wanted, you threw the people out and you lived there. You had better food, you had better clothing, you had better vehicles, and everybody else was a slave. And that's what would happen here, because we have a lot of rich people who are working with the Democrat Party. People who've already made their money who now want to make sure that nobody else can have a good lifestyle, the American dream. That's why one of the things the president did is he got rid of that stupid plan that the Obama administration had to rezone everything so that we stuck all this low-income housing into suburbs, destroying property values, destroying people's lives, destroying anybody of any ethnicity who was trying to get ahead and have a good lifestyle for their families. That's what he's fighting against and has been. Now, there are a lot of lies being told, I realize that. There are every election. But this election season, more than any other that I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I've been politically engaged since Ronald Reagan, so I have a little bit of experience. I have never seen the media so biased, so deceptive, so fraudulent as what we have today. Most of them will not tell the truth. It's getting a little windy. I'm going to pull the camera in back a little, maybe just in case, so that it doesn't affect the microphone. Online, these social media sites are obviously biased. I've had on my one Facebook page that I have where I do more political stuff, I've seen constant flagging by Facebook saying, oh, that site, that post you shared was partially false, or it was taken out of context, or, it's just, we're going to reduce the amount of people who will see it now because you've done this. And it's a lot of crap, because the stuff that I post, I don't get from these kooky, loony bloggers. I get it from legitimate news sources, even if they are more conservative. And yet, Facebook doesn't want that message to get out there. Now we've just seen one of the major newspapers in the whole United States, the New York Post, like them or don't like them if you want, but their circulation is massive, and they've been doing what they've been doing for a long time, so they're not like the National Enquirer, okay? It's legitimate news. They broke a story that proved that Biden has been lying about his son's connection to the Ukraine and the Chinese, and the influence peddling and the graft and all of that went on when Biden was vice president. Twitter, Facebook, a number of other sites have either reduced the reach of those stories, or they've actually shut down people's accounts. Including, I saw today, they actually shut down the Trump campaign's Twitter account. Yesterday, they shut down Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary's Twitter account. All because they tried to publish this story to get the news out to people. Because the mainstream press, the nightly news folks, the overpaid idiots who can barely read a teleprompter, refused to cover it. So, at any rate, enough about ranting about the media. But if we don't fight back for what we love, it's going to be gone. And that means you have to vote. If you're not registered to vote and it's not too late where you live, get registered. Get out there and vote. Make sure you vote in person if at all possible, because all the nonsense that's going on with the mail-in ballots, anybody who doesn't think there's fraud, well, maybe there's a bridge in Brooklyn I could sell you. Vote in person, even if it's early voting, at least vote in person. Then you know you've signed the book. You know that your vote is probably going to count. The chances of vote fraud against your vote will be far less than if somebody accidentally misplaces your mail-in ballot. If you have family that you can take to the polling places, whether early voting or on November 3rd, please take as many people with you as you can. Help them to understand just how important this election is. If you have elderly relatives who can't vote, who need absentee ballots, that you can get for them and get them filled out and in. Now, I know the problem with the nursing homes is many are locked down, so who knows who's going to go through the nursing homes. All it would take is a Democrat operative as a staff member to go through with these mail-in ballots, filling them out for everybody who's there. But do what you can with that. if you have the opportunity to call family members or neighbors or friends, people who aren't perhaps politically active but are registered to vote, call them between now and the election and say, hey, listen, this is important. I know we don't talk politics much, but this is important. We need to do this together to save this nation, to save our way of life. If you can do 10 people like that, 10 phone calls between now and the election, you can greatly impact your influence without it taking a whole lot of time and energy. If you can put a post on Facebook, if you can share this video on YouTube and on Facebook. Sorry, the wind is kicking up again here a little bit. Anything that you can do to spread the word about why this is so important and why this election will result in either America being free or America being destroyed, do it. Because we need all hands on deck. We're not going to get any help from the professional politicians. We're not going to get any help from the press. We're not going to get any help from even our local news is slanted and biased most of the time. So it's a word of mouth thing that has to happen. The polls are all over the place, so you can't assume anything that they're telling you is true. We'd like to believe that Trump is doing well, given the size of his rallies where thousands and thousands of people show up no matter where he is, as opposed to Biden where he's got 6 people standing inside those dopey white circles. But who knows? For most Democrats, they could have run a dead cat and they would have pushed him as being the best choice for president. Because it's all about the power brokers behind the scenes. Anybody who has any common sense can see Biden is impaired cognitively, and it's only going to get worse. And that's why Nancy Pelosi has been pushing this whole congressional commission to further describe the use of the 25th Amendment, which is the way to get rid of a president while he's in office. And one of the people who can do that is the vice president. Guess what? That puts even more radical Kamala Harris into the Oval Office, which is part of what they want. We have to fight against that. Now look, this video isn't just for those of you who live out in the country. I don't care if you have a spread in Montana. I don't care if you have a townhouse in Manhattan. I don't care if you have a beach house along some coast somewhere, or a cabin in the woods in the Appalachians. Wherever you are in this nation, this is going to affect you one way or the other. Anything that you think is yours can easily be taken away if the Marxists gain power. They will do it. They have been doing it for over 100 years. And it has never, ever been different. It won't be here. So if you want to have a beautiful view like God's blessed me with here, if you have your own, I urge you to work to stop this insanity. Let's get 4 more years out of a president who respects us, who's working for us, who doesn't need the special interest money to influence him, because he's got plenty of his own, and who has no other agenda other than to see this nation become as great as it possibly can be. Those of you who live in the country, maybe many of you have a heritage here like I do of several generations on this property. And actually my heritage goes back beyond this property. I'm a 10th generation American citizen. Actually, my ancestors came here before there was an America. My ancestors fought in all the wars. They always sided with the good guys. And they sacrificed a lot to give us what we all have today. Now it's our generation's turn. Are we going to preserve this beautiful land we have for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren, and so on? It's up to us now, because the left has become unmasked. They've shown us that they are truly Marxists, truly want to take over everything and make the entire population their slaves. If you want to keep your gun rights, if you want to keep your free speech rights, if you want to keep your right to worship as you desire and to practice your religion as you desire, you have to defeat the Democrat Party. You have to re-elect President Trump and also other Republicans all the way down the ticket. We have to gain control of Congress. We have to gain control of governors' mansions, of state legislatures. We have to have people who respect our rights and will continue to work to keep us safe, to stop the anarchists, to stop the intrusion by China and Russia into polluting our nation and any other bad actors all across the globe. We need to work together to stop that, and we have the power to do that on November 3rd. Please listen to what I'm saying. Please take this seriously, and let's protect, preserve, and defend this way of life that we are so blessed with. I appreciate your time in listening, and I hope that this video quality will be okay and you'll be able to listen to it. Please share this with others. Please spread the word. And most of all, make sure you get out and vote in a way that you're sure your vote is going to count. We have to re-elect President Trump, and we have to re-elect as many Republicans as possible. Not that they're all great guys and women, but if Trump's at the head, they'll do what they're told. They will follow his lead because he will be the head. He is the head of the party, essentially, even if the rhinos don't like him. And they'll go along. So, hang in there. Keep praying. Keep trusting God that He's going to be with us. And please enjoy the beauty of life out in the country like I'm enjoying in this beautiful fall afternoon. Thank you for watching. Oh, one other point. If you're watching this video from another country, you're not an American citizen, but you have friends or family who are Americans, please speak to them about voting. Please share this video with them too, because you can still influence in a good way our election by making sure your family and friends realize the truth. So thank you again, and may God bless your life. May God bless the United States, and may God bless country living in this great nation. Thank you.